Hey, everybody, and welcome to the HERstory Collaborative. My name is Jen Buck, and I'm your host of the show. I'm a professional speaker, a coach, an author, and a nonprofit founder. My business is focused on advocating, activating, and amplifying high-performing women. And that's what the HERstory Collaborative is all about. Trailblazing women who are changing their little corner of the world. And today, my guest is the incomparable Joan Greene. Joan is a business owner of 34 years, and she's worked with major international corporations around the world, as well as mom and pop companies in the country. Her company provides customized promotional items, and these organizations give these items out to their employees. And as Joan always likes to say, she gets paid to play with toys. Joan is also civically minded, and she is a warrior who consistently stands on the right side of right. She's extremely active in animal rescue for the state of Arizona and has run for the US Congress. And her goal is to bring a new voice to the table. So welcome, Joan Greene. I'm so glad that you're here.
Hi, Jen. How are you? Oh, I've missed you. I love you. And I'm so glad that I could be part of your show. I'm excited and I'm honored. So let's get to it. Let's have some fun.
Yay, yay, yay. And for those of you who are tuning in, I have to tell you, Joan is someone that I've actually worked for. And I think she is absolutely extraordinary. And when she was running for Congress, I was working at her side, and I just believe in her so much. I believe in her vision. I believe in her energy. I believe in her heart. And so this is huge for me, Joan. So thank you for doing this with me.
Oh my gosh. You know how I feel. We work together. So.
I know you're my boo, and I just love you. Love you to pieces. So let's, I feel like I know a lot about you, but I definitely don't know sort of who you were when you were young. Were you always this Spitfire? Were you always someone who just wanted to change your little corner of the world? What's that? Who was Joan when she was little?
Joan, I've thought about this, and, my earliest memories are my love of books. When I was a child, my mom would take us all, there's four little kids, and we'd go to our local library. Man, I miss those days, right? Yeah. We'd go to the local libraries and we'd come home with armfuls of books, right? And I would run into my room and I would read them, and it didn't matter really what it was. Mm-hmm. And then the next Saturday, we'd go back and I'd give book reports to the librarian.
Oh, that is so
during that time. So, and then we would get, our stars and whatever, and then we would do this cycle over again. So, and it was really neat because my parents really believed in reading, and my father always said, if he never worried about me because I was a reader. My other siblings, but if you can read, right, and it gives you critical thinking and it opens up the world to you, then it's a blessing. So that's why I'm a big fan. So that's what I really recall in my childhood. Other than that, it's just living large and trying not to get in trouble.
Yeah. You know what? I can totally relate to that because when I was little, my family struggled financially. We were never wealthy. Both parents were always working, and we lived, a typical middle class life, but it wasn't like we had a lot of extras. And so when I would go places, like every kid, I was always like, I want, Mom, can I have? And she would always say no, unless we were at the bookstore. When we were at the bookstore, she would tell me I could take as many books as I wanted. There was no limit to what she would purchase. And so I was raised in an environment that really valued reading too. And I love that. That's how you were raised as well. So when you were little, who did you think you'd grow up to be?
Well, and I went through stages, right? So my first memory was a lawyer. I have no idea why. And then it was acting. And then I went into writer.
Okay.
And then I'm sure during all of this, my parents were probably like, you may want to get a job that pays your bills.
Right.
But then it turned into, in high school, my dad, man, he was amazing. He passed 5 years ago this month, and I miss him all the time. And he said, you're going to grow up and you're a woman, and you're never going to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And women today are like panicked, right? But when you really dig into the figures, there might be 24 women in 2021 who are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies.
Yes.
So he always said, we need to steer you into a path where you own your own company.
Smart.
And so that's, so from high school on until I landed with what I'm doing now, if I took a part-time job, my dad was the one that said, is this the company that you want to own? Can you see yourself doing this? And I'm like, well, Dad, no, I don't want to be an owner of a pest control place. Because, you're doing that, or a print shop, which at the time I didn't want to, but it turns out that's, in a weird roundabout way, everything I've done has kind of set me up without me realizing it to the path that I am.
Yep.
And I thank my dad for doing that.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because as I mentioned in your intro, you get paid to play with toys all day long. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how that sort of print shop idea comes in, and business ownership of 34 years.
So I do promotional items, which is marketing, but it's with a tangible good. All right. So it's not advertising in magazines. It's not print. It's a mug, right? Yes. It's a pen. It's anything with your logo on it that you want to give out, because it's something that I believe people keep, right? People appreciate, and it's a gift. And so I got into that in a really roundabout way. I didn't even know what it was until I was working at a boutique place, and the person I was working with, our client, and this is my background also, is our niche market was nonprofits.
Okay.
And our client was the AIDS group. At the time, it was the AIDS Foundation here locally. Mm-hmm. And we came up with, so what they wanted was a giveaway, because AIDS was very blowing up back then. And so it was an oversized matchbook with their logo on it and a condom inside. And I had no idea. And the person I was working with says, I know somebody who can get us something like that. And I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. I have no idea why that triggered me, but that's exactly what I wanted to do. And so I said, so the person I was working with, I left his company on a Friday and started my promotional item on a Monday.
No kidding.
I had no experience in it whatsoever. I just said, that's what I want to do. I can certainly figure this out. I'm not building a rocket, and I'm sure I reinvented the wheel, but here I am. $500 for business cards and stationery and hard work, and 34 years later.
It's amazing. So you must love it. I mean, if you've been doing it for 34 years, you've got to love what you do. What do you love about it?
I love about the fact that it's interesting, because no matter what it is, it's providing a solution. I'm solving a problem for a client, right? Whether it's internally for security reasons, to get their employees aware of what they should be doing. It's bringing more business into the company. It's trade show work. It's being creative. It's not 2 days that are the same. Not to brag, we won our share of industry awards.
Nice.
Yeah. And you win an industry award, not because it's creative, but because it's creative and it solved a problem that you can measure.
Yes.
And so I'm proud of that, huh?
Yeah. And I think that what people don't realize is that, right now we're in another service boom where we know that, back in the 80s, we talked about service being king, and we're going through another surge. And so we've got to do two things. We've got to keep our employee morale very high. We've got to keep people excited, feeling rewarded, being acknowledged, valued, right, on a regular basis. But we also have to have unique and different gifts that we give to our clients and customers, because that keeps them remembering us and keeps coming back. So this new, service surge that we're seeing again, because really think about what the world looks like right now. It's all about relationships. We're not seeing each other in person as much. It's all about that soft touch. And those are the things that make such a difference. But you can't just have a cool product or a cool gift that you give out. You've got to have really happy people. And I love that you sort of hit both of those.
Right. And it's great. And now because we're doing, because we're still at home, right? Or and most people, and I've always had my business out of my home. I mean, it's just been one of those things that I've also learned, which I guess makes me, I practice what I preach when I say I'm fiscally responsible, is because there was no need to spend money on an office, right? So for me to go into my home environment during this health crisis was like, yeah, okay, I've been doing this for 34 years. This is nothing, but a lot of people haven't. So we have to make sure that the people who are from companies still feel a connection to them, and we have. There's kits that we provide for companies. It can be as simple as a mug and a coaster. I just saw a new item that when it comes in for a sample, I'll present on my website. But it's just these little things that people are like, okay, now that's cool.
Yeah. I have to tell you, working for you, I got the coolest swag ever.
I better.
And I still use your mug, the one that you just pulled up, because it's the best top ever. And it's ceramic, it's not plastic, and it keeps my coffee warmer longer. And so you really do have killer swag.
I do have killer swag. You know what? I may not get elected, but people are certainly going to, keep my stuff.
Right.
They better elect me.
Oh my gosh. So tell me this, because I know that, I've also been a business owner in May, it will be 24 years. And so you're far ahead of me. And I know just from my journey that the going is not always smooth, and easy. And so what do you do when things get tough? What's your true north? Because we've got people who are listening to this right now who might be in the middle because of the pandemic of seeing, let's just say a downslide in their income. There's instability for not only our businesses, but also our incoming client base, right? So what do you do to sort of keep yourself up and motivated? Because you really are one of the happiest people I've ever met in my life.
I think for me, depends on the day, right? And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. Go take a nap, right? Okay. And it's okay to go, this is bad, right? And it's okay to feel like that. But then there's a certain point where you don't want to swirl that cycle, right? So think about if your friend came to you, right, and said, "Hey, I'm feeling this." Most of us feel like we're experts in everybody else's lives except for our own. Okay.
Yeah.
So how would we talk to our friends? How did we get them up and going? If you're in an industry, dig up some industry literature that you've been reading, right? Maybe that triggers a good idea. Get out of your own industry and get online and go, what is somebody else doing? Because you really don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to kind of tweak it and use it for yourself. I've done another business where, I didn't reinvent the wheel. I did my research to do that. And then I was like, then I tweaked it for my own personal use. But it's, how do we do this? What are other people doing? How do I make it fresh? And that right now I'm in the midst of that. Not that I'm swirling, but we're now pulling ourselves into different niche markets. So instead of, we're doing this big broad for our clients, but now we're doing separate niche markets that we can target people to go, oh, okay, we can do that.
Yep. And I think that's so important for people, because I know that we know our business better than anyone. And we believe that, we've covered all our bases and there are no more rocks to, flip over and check under. And I think that, when I am coaching women myself, I will do, for instance, I have a group of women right now going through what's called the 21-day Kickstarter. And every day they have to do something different. And it's really about honing in on the change you want to make, the adjustment that you are hoping to achieve, whatever it is, right? And it's always looking for someone's advice, whether it's an article or a video that's out there, a TED video. It's figuring out who your ideal client is. It's really honing in on who that person is, kind of like an avatar. Who is that person and what's going to trip their trigger, right? What's going to get them excited? What's going to get them to buy? And I think that that's such a key thing for me to do, is to find others that might have completely different businesses, but to look at the practices of what they're doing, because there may be something that I can add to what I'm doing. And you've given me people to look at in my business and who are doing it differently and may not have the same business, but hey, Jen, this person has a great product, just check it out, and I think that's important.
And what you do is so valuable, because what women need, all right, men get this all the time, or they don't care, right? Because they're wired a little bit differently. And I don't say that in a bad way, but it just is, right? But we should be relying and embracing, right, the mentor-mentee relationship, which you do terrifically. And it's with the programs that you do, because that's another way to get people out of their swirl, is mentoring somebody, right? And taking it in, getting advice and sharing it. And, even if it's an umbrella drink.
Yeah, right.
Right.
People are always surprised that I have my own coaches that I go to. I have an accountability coach that I meet with every week that keeps me on track. I've got another coach that I'm starting with that's going to be looking over all of my social to make sure it's on track. I've got another one who's actually helping me craft my social. So I've got my people too. And while I'm out here doing this, I also need to lean on people, and we don't have all the answers. And I think that's what I love about working with women, is that they get that. They get that for one of us to succeed, it's going to allow all of us to succeed, because women tend to pull each other with them. And
hopefully not all women. And that's really what, that's, to me, that's how we're trying to do it. And this is the problem with certain politics, for instance, without getting into politics, is that there's, we want, I always say, when we work together, we thrive together. And I believe in that. So it's not about, stomping on the fingertips of somebody else to keep them from coming up. It's extending your hand to those in need. So whether it's whatever that person's need is, if you can do it personally or refer them or whatever, to me, that's a gift.
Yep. No, I totally agree. And I live by that. And I think it's so key. So if you were to give a piece of advice to some of the younger women that are possibly coming up, maybe even women who are seasoned in business, but making a change, what would you impart to them, to that next generation of women leading, to help them achieve success in their life?
Don't take no for an answer. I mean, there's so many things, right? Don't take no. It's okay to don't let fear stop you. It doesn't matter your age. If like I'm blah, 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 blah.
You're 42.
I'm there. I've been in business, in my prime business, for 34 years this June, but that doesn't mean that I haven't also done other businesses at the same time, right? Because even though I love what I do, sometimes you just get a little bored, or you need something to excite you and spur you on. You do that too. I mean, you've gone into different directions, and it's okay to do that, because then, it brings you back, or you can go, you're never too old to do something else, right? So don't let that frighten you, and find people who can help you. I get people who call me all the time who say, will you talk to me about such and such? And I'm like, well, sure. Good luck with that. But not that, but like, I'm honored that you would do that. Take my experience for what it is and tailor it to your own. But don't be afraid. It's a great time to, that if anything, this crisis has done for us, it's how do we work smarter? How do we rely on other people? How do we, who are the people who can help us keep our families and our businesses intact?
Yes,
who care about us?
Yes,
right?
Positively. So, what matters most to you in your business?
Solving problems and knowing that it gives me that opportunity to, in my business, because I do work with a lot of nonprofits, they have my heart, and that's where I started. we're able to provide items for them at no charge, like pro bono, right? Like we gift them so they can use it to raise funds for their own organizations.
Yes.
And so it gives me that opportunity. And, it's that full circle of how can we give back? How can we use our talents and product to help them?
I love that. So if you could tell the little girl that you were, little Joni, I know you never went by that except by your brother.
My brother, except right.
Brother. Yeah. So if you could tell the little girl that you were one piece of advice, when she was younger, knowing what you've gone through, what would that piece of advice be?
Well, it never had to learn it. Okay. But meaning this wasn't me, but through my years, I would say, be nice. I would say, smile. I would say, when you hit a certain point in your life, and that usually starts in your late 20s, right? If not sooner, depending on the person, give back to your community, no matter what it is. And it doesn't matter if it's 1 hour a month or 1 hour a year, just give back, right? Because you're moving forward in your community is going to support you, right? Yes. Support your community.
I love that. And I'm not one bit surprised coming from you, knowing how active you are all the time. I love that. Would you do anything differently in your life?
No, because I think maybe with some relationships with people, you always want things to be a little bit different or a little bit, personality, but that's growth. So, you hope you take those lessons into the next journey that you're doing. But no, I've never done anything that's been horrible,
Good.
So I lived a very dull life.
No, that's not it. You just are you're a good person.
Probably not procrastinate. Probably to,
right.
I always think about, gosh, I still want to write that all-American novel, that beach novel, right?
Sure. Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask you some final questions. We've got a speed round here that I do in each broadcast. And I feel like it's a great way for us to kind of get a different perspective that maybe isn't so formal, and it just gives us a good idea about who you are. So you ready? I'm going to ask some questions, and you just give me some quick ones that come to mind. Here's the first one. Who's your favorite woman in history that you would want to have on your park bench for an hour with you?
Joan Rivers.
Oh, mine too. No. Oh my gosh. I need to tell you my Joan Rivers story. Oh my gosh. I've never told you that. Oh, that's why I love you. Okay. Are you a night person, an afternoon person, or a morning person?
I think it depends on my age.
Okay.
When I was younger, I was a night person. Then I became a morning person. And now it depends what time is morning. If 7 o'clock is morning, I can do that. But
okay. Yeah. So first purchase or spend when you win the lottery?
Okay. Now I know this sounds so Joan, right? But it depends on how much it is, right? So if it's $1 bazillion, okay?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So if it's $1 bazillion, I honestly want to have an apartment complex. Okay. And I want to fill it with people who may be, who might be struggling financially for homes.
Yes.
I don't call them homeless, but home insecure. Okay.
Yes.
So I want that.
I love that answer.
And other rescue groups, so they never have to worry about feeding a pup or a cat or whatever,
I love that. What a great answer. All right. Favorite book?
So the ones that stick with me, I know we do this the whole time. Old Yeller, Where the Red Fern Grows. We got to pull it from our childhood, because for me, that's where it made the most sense. And of course, it was all animals, and I cried. But when I was 9 years old, I also read The Exorcist.
No.
Yeah. So I should not have done that, but
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Way ahead of my time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. All right. Best advice you've ever been given?
So my dad said one year when I was whining about paying taxes, right?
Yeah.
He said, you wouldn't be paying taxes if you weren't making money. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Do
you have any regrets?
Do I have any regrets? No.
Okay,
no.
Good. What's your theme song when you're walking on stage and you have 25,000 people in the audience ready to listen to you?
You gave me the theme song. You gave it to me. Pitbull.
Yes.
I believe that we will win.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Yes, that song lights me up. Excellent. Yep. So next question. Are you living past 100?
I hope so.
Yay.
You know, I mean, you think about that because I'm at that age and, you hear people say, you have less time to go than you did, less future than in the past. Yeah. But I just hope that I don't, Jagger is like right here.
That's okay.
You just hope that you don't get hit by a bus.
Yes.
So I'm very cautious about buses.
I know you are. And I laugh only because I don't know how many times that we've spoken and you've thrown out, don't get hit by a bus. And it just, I'm holding it together here. And what's the best word to describe you?
I think it depends on the situation, but because there's many. I like to think I'm funny, but I think that's subjective.
You're very good.
But integrity, honesty, compassionate. I mean, there's just so many different words depending on what we're doing, but those are the core values that I bring.
And this is exactly why you win more awards in your industry, because I think that's what you are so clearly standing for. And I think that your clients, they know that. And I love it. So final question. When you're old, which means you're not old yet, when you're old, I hope to see.
I hope that I have a dog who can still join me on a Zoom.
Yes.
That's I guess that's what I hope. That's my only answer. The love of not the bus. Not the white light. Not the white light.
No, got it. Yeah. The love of a dog. And how many dogs do you have, Joan Greene?
Well, right now I have 6.
Yes.
Today I have 6.
Yes. I love that so much.
Yes.
Well, Joan, this has been so much fun for me. And I miss you terribly. And I just think you're the greatest human alive. And I'm just really grateful that you spent some time. And I want to make sure that for women who are out there, men who are out there who are listening, that they know how to reach you, because I know that you have a lot to give, whether that is through your business or mentoring or advice or friendship or whatever it might be. So can you let people know how they can reach you?
Absolutely. They can just go to Joan Greene AZ, JoanGreene AZ @gmail.com. And we're fun.
Yes, you are. Always fun. Absolutely. One of the best times I've ever had in my life working for someone. So it's the best.
Well, do this. And don't forget, you're going to have to clear some schedule for me. Because
I know.
And I got big plans, baby.
I plan on it. You know that you're not getting rid of me.
Good.
And for everybody, thanks for joining in and taking a little time to hang with us. And I do want to say before I go that these episodes are sponsored by Go With The Flow. It is an organization that helps students with period packs. So for students who are menstruating, who live in lower income areas and don't have the ability to get the supplies that they need, Go With The Flow, make sure that they are given these period packs so they can retain their dignity and not worry about bullying, and also not have days of their school week missed because they're unable to handle, what life gives to all of us. And so gowiththeflowaz.org is where you can find them if you'd like to contribute in any way. So Joan, thanks a million. This has been so much fun.
Okay. Loves you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.